Hey everyone, it's Sammy here. Thank you for joining me again. Today we are going to be making a pumpkin, potato and basil curry. It's a really simple curry with some really beautiful flavours. We are going to be using some of these amazing Lakota pumpkins. That's an heirloom variety of pumpkin. Some potatoes from the garden and ginger, garlic, onion, and seasoning it up with some tamari. So first of all, we're going to start by getting the onions, garlic and ginger sauteing gently. So we just need to finely dice an onion. We want the dice of the onion to be fairly small because the onion, garlic and ginger, they're going to create the sauce around our curry. Okay, so that's our onion, nice and finely diced. Just going to heat the pan here. And I'm going to add a little splash of water to start off the sauteing process. Okay, when that pan is to about a medium heat, I'm just going to add the onion and just going to saute that gently. We want to really soften the onion without browning it up too much at this point. So while that's getting started and while I'm starting to cry with the onions, we'll get started on ginger and garlic. So ginger, a little trick that you can use to peel the ginger is to get a teaspoon. And I find that once I kind of use a teaspoon, it makes it really easy to just scrape off that outer layer of skin on the ginger. You can see that. It's certainly much easier at different times of the year when the ginger is really fresh. The skin will just peel away really, really easily. And then I'm just going to use a fine hold grater to grate the ginger. You could use a knife and just really finely chop it like you would with garlic. Either way is going to be fine in this case. The main point though is that you want to get it really, really fine. We don't want big chunks of ginger in our curry sauce. I think that looks like a good amount. Put that to the side and get started on our garlic. So we're using 4 cloves of garlic for this one, which does seem like a lot, but it's going to give us the result that we want. To release the garlic from the skin, I find that it really helps to get that little end where it's held together, where the skin is kind of held on. Just chop that off. And then, keeping your hand well away from the sharp part of the knife, you can just squash it down. And then the skin will release really easily. And then you're good to just start chopping. When your onions start to dry off a bit, just add a little splash more water so that you can keep really cooking them down without them browning too much. As so. You don't want it to be too hot at this point. We're just going to cook them pretty slowly. My garlic's starting to look pretty well chopped, but I want it really, really fine. So just keep going. Again, we don't want those big lumps of garlic for our sauce. Okay, that's starting to look a bit better now. Let's check our onions. They're looking pretty nice and soft and translucent. translucent. So I'm going to bring in the garlic and ginger. And cook that down again, really nice and gently, deglazing as needed. Smells so fragrant and gorgeous. I'm going to turn my rice off. My rice is done. They can just sit there and stay warm until we've got the curry finished. Okay, now how to tackle this pumpkin. I'm going to use this one. Okay, so I'm going to go right through the middle and use this end half of pumpkin. Okay, let's have a look inside. Gorgeous. Okay, I'm just going to take the skin off. There's a couple of ways you could do it. With this shaped piece, you could go down, always making sure you are heading towards the board with your knife. But when you're chopping something hard like pumpkin, it's always good to take a moment and think about what's going to happen if you slip. So if I slip doing this, the board's going to go into the knife. The knife is going to go into the board, not into me. So I don't ever like to see people peeling like this because yeah, it's a bit of a recipe for disaster. Okay, so another really safe way to prep your pumpkin is to cut it into wedges. And just make the wedges about the size that you want the finished pieces to be. So if you're wanting like about a 1.5 centimetre dice, make the strips, the wedges about 1.5 centimetres. We can easily take the seeds out then. And then it's simply a matter of going around the edges and taking the skin off like that. Really safe, super easy. And get a bowl for my finished pieces. To give myself a bit of space. Now I want the pumpkin dice to be bigger than the potato dice, and this is because they're going to cook a lot more quickly. Pumpkin is a much softer vegetable, and that way everything will be ready at about the same time. You can take the seeds out with the knife like I just did then, or I'll show you in a moment how you can also take them out with a spoon. You can also just use a dessert spoon to scrape the seeds out like that. Super easy. If you want to dry them and replant them in the garden, you have more pumpkins than you can possibly use. You'll be able to share them with your friends and neighbours. Now I should have said, we're using the Lakota pumpkin, but you can use any type of pumpkin, it really doesn't matter what variety you choose, just use what you've got on hand. Okay, now we're going to prep the potatoes. I have scrubbed them, but I'm not going to peel them. I prefer to keep potato skins on where I can. They add so much more fibre and nutrients, plus there's a lot of flavour in the skins as well. So I'm just going for a bit of a smaller dice than I did with the pumpkin. And get a bowl. So we're looking, you can see the difference between the sizes of the pumpkin and the potato. So we're aiming for that kind of size with the potato. More like that kind of size with the pumpkin. So quite a difference there. potatoes are one of those vegetables that are so worth getting organic if you can, because the flavour difference is incredible. I have heard, and I've never been a potato grower, so you know, I could be wrong, but what I've heard is that potatoes are actually quite heavily sprayed throughout their production of conventional potatoes. So they're sprayed, potentially sprayed once while they're growing to keep any pests and diseases off the leaves. And then the potatoes are ready to harvest once the plant dies, so they are sprayed again to speed up that dying process of the plant. And then the natural reaction of potato, once it's been harvested, is to reseed. So they're sprayed a third time to stop them kind of shooting and sprouting in the shops. So whether this is the cause or not, I don't know, but when you taste homegrown or organically produced potatoes, the difference is incredible. Just so much more flavour, so much more delicious. And they're really easy and fun to grow at home as well. Now actually you can see that I'm using a little bit more than the recipe in terms of the vegetables. Really you're making a sauce, the curry sauce and the vegetables go in. So there's a bit of flexibility there. You can use what you've got. And this is what I had to use up, so that's why I'm adding a little bit more of the potato. So there we go, we finished dusting those. Okay, coming back to our onion, garlic and ginger. This is really nice and soft now, really well cooked down. And we're going to add in just a tablespoon of panela, which is dried sugarcane juice, also sold as rapadura sugar. If you can't get hold of that, you can use brown sugar, that will be fine as well. Although you may want to use just a little bit less if you're using brown sugar, because it's a lot sweeter. So by adding this at this stage, it's just going to enhance the natural sweetness of the pumpkin. So we'll cook that down for a couple of minutes. Okay, and now I'm going to add a cup of soy milk. You can use any kind of plant milk. And this is just going to add a level of creaminess to our sauce. And some tamari. Or light soy sauce will also do the trick. But regular soy sauce will probably be too salty. So if you are using regular soy sauce, just maybe add about half, taste it, and then add more as you go along. Now we are ready to add our vegetables. So in goes the pumpkin and the potato. And stir it through. I'm just going to cover that now and let it cook down. And then we'll come back to it when it's come up to a simmer and stir through the basil leaves. I'm going to prep those now. Just a generous handful of basil. And I'm just going to save a few of those tiniest leaves just to garnish our finished dish at the end. So it's simply a matter of picking off the leaves, leaving any that are a little bit discoloured or marked. And we're going to stir them through whole. We don't need to chop them at all. It smells so good. I love the smell of fresh basil. That leaf is only half discoloured. I'm just going to take off the discoloured bit and use the good bit. Waste as little as possible. Okay, let's have a look at our curry, see how that's going. Okay, we're getting a bit of bubbling happening at the sides here. Yum, smells good. And just bring through the basil leaves. And stir them through gently. Making sure they get down into that liquid that is there. Now what you'll notice as you cook your curry down, you might notice that it starts to look a little bit dry. There's going to be varying amounts of water in your vegetables, so this is going to affect the end result. If you feel like it needs a little bit more liquid, you can add just a little bit more of your plant milk or a little touch of water. Okay, lid goes back on. And we're really just waiting until our vegetables are really nice and soft, and then we'll be ready to serve. Okay, let's have a check, see how it's going. Okay, looking good. I'm going to add, you can see how there's not a lot of that saucy liquid there, so I'm going to add just a little splash more of the soy milk, because we really want lots of that juice to soak into our rice. Looking better, and we're nearly there, just a couple more minutes and we should be good to go. Let's do a last little check of our curry. Check the vegetables. I'm going to go for the biggest pieces of pumpkin because we know that all the others will be fine. Most of them are pretty good, and we really just need to check our sauce to make sure that doesn't need any adjustment. That's really good. I'm happy with that. So at this point what you'd be tasting for is whether you want to add any more salt or any more sweetness. So if you think it needs a little bit of saltiness, you could add just a dash more tamari or a little pinch of salt. More sweetness, perhaps just a tiny sprinkle of some more panela. And serve up. Fresh herbs here, and there you have it, our pumpkin, potato and basil curry.